Now that we know what we are about to make, let us import Tkinter, which is the module used for graphical user interface in Python. So we have made this master variable as our main screen and just running it in a main loop to check if it is working. So we see that it's working. Now let us proceed further. As we have seen what we have to make, we are going to need entries where we can type in. So give the name, area and volume, which is the title of our program. Like for cube and square, this can be used, but it is graphical user interface. Set the geometry of our screen as 500 into 500 and then disable resizing the screen so that our buttons do not glitch afterwards when we make the window full screen or otherwise. So let us start creating entries. We define x and y is equal to 0 so that we can arrange everything according to x and y, and whenever we want to change the appearance of our code, the final product, we can just change the values of x and y to give us our desired effect on the final product. We also need a frame so that all our entries and labels are grouped together nicely. Let us also create a variable named fonty in which we define our font size so that we can reuse the font size in every label, every entry and every button, and whenever we want to change it all, we can just change one single variable value. Let us now grid all of these so that they appear at correct positions on the screen. The position of these elements in number of rows and columns is very important. You cannot overlap two elements at one single position. That would cause confusion and blunder on our final product. Let us create some labels so that the user understands where he has to give required dimensions for the program to execute correctly. By giving these labels, we are making it clear for the user that he has to give dimension 1, dimension 2 and dimension 3 at the spaces provided below these labels. We have to grid these labels carefully above our entries. There seems to be a problem in the screen size. Let us change the width. It looks better, but now the rows and columns are different for the labels and for the entries. So let us bring the labels inside our frame so that all of them group together as one. When we are going to put D frame as the frame where these have to be situated, the labels, then these labels would come directly above our entries, which is exactly what we want. If you still did not get it, you'll understand when we execute this code. Only dimension 2 label seems to be at the wrong place. Now it seems reasonably correct. All the 3 entries are coming below dimension labels. Now we also need one button to calculate all that the user is giving. So this button that we are calling calculate will do nothing but multiply all the 3 entries. We'll see what to do with blank entries once we are done with creating this button. Placing this at the right place is also important. So we have an error here, that is because we have not defined the command that we have already given to the button. So now that we have a dummy function, it's working properly. Changing its location, the same function. Now is the main part, the main thing that we need to do for this code. In this function, we want to get whatever the user has provided in the entries and convert it into float. Before converting, let us check if we are able to get and print those entries. Perfect, they are being printed. Here we have converted these 3 entries into float, and now let us check if we can print their multiplication. There is an error. That is because we are using D1 again. Let us change D1 to D_1, D2 to D_2, and D3 to D_3. Yes, the multiplication is working. 5 into 2 into 1 is 10. 5 into 3 into 2, 15. 30. This is where we are handling blank entries. If we get a value for entry that is equal to nothing but blank space, we would assume that entry's value to be 1 so that the multiplication does not change. Or better so, if we define all of these as 1 in the beginning, and then if the entries are not blank, only then we'll consider changing them into floats. Let us see if we can make this work by putting a blank entry. Yes, it is working. We also want our program to be smart enough to know that if all the three entries are blank, it has to do nothing and ask for some value. So as we see, our program has become smart. Now, why not just change our result from printing it in its console window to directly showing the result as a label on our graphical user screen. This label, for which we are using the variable result, is going to do exactly that. There we go, that result looks better at the position beside the entry. Now all that we need to do is exchange print with our label.configure and then whatever we were printing as equal to text. All seems good.